Welcome everyone to the Authentic as Fuck podcast. My name is Sun. I am a marketer and storyteller, and in this podcast, I work with members of my community to kind of coach them through branding, marketing, storytelling. And today we have Stephanie Lau. Hi, Stephanie.
Hi, son. Thank you so much for uh, inviting me to your podcast.
Thank you for joining all the way from Hong Kong, right?
Yes,
Are you
yes.
from Hong Kong? Okay. So let's start with that. Do you want to kind of give a quick intro about yourself, what you do, where you're from?
Yeah.
Um,
I'm Stephanie from Hong Kong, and right now I'm building a Twitter community with coaches and consultants, and I call them superhumans. So the whole brand, it's called the Superhumans Community. And what we do is we give them different resources to help them monetize their superpowers, meaning their expertise in a very gamified experience. Because I think most people, including myself, like business is kind of more like challenging or, like it's about hustling, but I want to make it into something very fun. So it's like you're playing while working. So this is the whole idea, the whole concept. Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so it's almost like uh, is it like an app or is it?
um, so it is more of a Discord channel where I
Mm,
combine community, mastermind, and also a software, right? So because I've like done a lot of research, and I think people on Twitter specifically, they really want to gain more followers. They really want to gain a lot more engagement, so they can build that expertise and credibility specifically. So with the software, we help them to get more engagement. So that is part of what this whole package or this whole product is all about.
mhm.
But also, people love to connect. They love to make friends on Twitter. Specifically, I don't know
Mm.
why. It's a thing. It's a cultural thing. So we run different activities, networking parties to help them, like get
Okay.
connected, and then also give them more chance to collaborate and partner together.
Okay. So do you have any questions or like where are you in your business? Do you have any questions that you want to start with?
Yeah, 100%. Actually, today is a
Mm,
very good day because today
mm.
is the soft launch of the community,
Oh,
right?
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
you can plug it if you want. What how do we find you?
oh yeah. So you can reach me out. My personal account is called the Stephanie Lau, and for the
On Twitter?
yeah,
On Twitter?
on Twitter,
Okay.
yeah, and then for the
Got
brand, it's called Hey Superhumans. Yeah, if you
got
just
it.
search it, and then you can find us.
I'll put the link in
Yeah,
the show notes.
that was awesome. Yeah, so
Mhm.
today is the first day of the soft launch. Obviously, bugs here and there, um, as usual. And but I think what I've been like really happy with all that is because we got like a wait list, and today we got a lot of people coming in into our community, and some people engaged, some people hasn't engaged much. So I think couple questions that I would love to get some advice from you is how can we make a community, specifically on Discord, very engaging that people want to come back every day and engage with not just me, but most importantly is engaging with other members, right? That would be the first question.
Yeah, I guess just to kind of give you an idea, the engagement on any platform, whether it's like your own community or Facebook group, Discord, or even publicly Twitter, whatever, the engagement rate is going to be low no matter what, right? Because there's like I think they say something like you know only 1 out of 10 people um only 1 out of 10 people actually will engage. Like
Mm-hmm.
what 1 out of 10 people who consumes content will actually engage. The 9 out of 10 of them are usually lurkers, right? That means they're reading, they're getting information, they're consuming one way,
Yeah.
but they're not going two ways. So the expectation for engagement should always be lower than what most entrepreneurs expect it to be,
Yeah.
right? So that's just right off the bat. So if you have 100 members, you should be expecting about 10 of them to be engaging, right?
Right.
So, well, first of all, if you have 100 members that are active, because you might get 100 people to sign up, that doesn't mean all 100 people are coming in and actually
100%.
consuming,
Yeah.
like people are busy and things like that. So whatever number that you have that are actually active, you should expect about 10% of them to actually leave comments and things like that, right?
Right. Right.
Um, so I guess I want to first ask you, like, are the people in the community people you know, or like, do you know them, or are they just like total strangers?
Okay, so maybe I share with you a bit of the whole
Mhm.
process of the whole journey of how this community starts, right? So, couple months ago, like in January, actually I've been uh, building a wait list uh, of people wanting our service, and we have about like 400 people on the wait list. I've been starting to accumulate them since December last year, so it has been like five
Okay.
months and around January, I found my co-founder, and finally we can develop this community plus software, right? And in February and also March, I have done two times, publicly asking people to be our beta testers because we definitely need people to really test out the software whether it works, right? And we have about, in total, we have about like 60 people being our beta testers. And what we decided to offer them is they will get lifetime access using, whatever we have, and then we'll keep upgrade. They will still be inside us. Um, so at the beginning, the idea is just to make it as a software, right? Just a software for people to engage, exchange comments, and then they use the comments to blast it out. So everybody gain more engagement. That is the whole idea because it's like a infinite sum game, right? And
Hmm.
as we're testing it, technically it works. However, we realize that people are not really engaging much because they don't know each other, right? I mean, technically it works, but people just like, I don't know who you are, so I don't want to engage with you. Then we're like really struggle because we don't want to run a community because running a community really takes time and really takes effort, right? But I think we had to do this because otherwise no one uses the software because our software
Hmm.
is very it's about the people. It's not just everybody uses software, but it's like a Facebook or it's like another social media platform where there's like network effect. So the more people use it, the more powerful it is, right?
Hmm.
So we have to add in the community element. So I decided to, put it in the Discord and then start, like trying to engage with people. But we don't have much content. Like I don't have a online course. I don't want to make it like so structural with a program with the online course. So it's more of like exchanging ideas or discussing different topics that they have, right? And some people obviously are not so engaging already. Maybe it's because they do have a common idea, which is to make more friends and get more engagement. But in terms of content, it's not like there's a syllabus where everybody can follow and then I can ask questions based on the syllabus. Anyways,
Got it.
um, then I think we had last time we had like a chat, right? And you shared the importance of having the first 100 people that I really should know them because they are the building blocks or they are the founding members of the community and they will build the right culture. So later, it's like me replicating myself 100 times, right? With this core
Hmm.
100 people. So I keep
Hmm.
in mind with this idea. And the next day, I made a big move, a quite bold move. I messaged 60 of them, like personally. I asked them, hey, um, in 2 weeks' time, we are going to launch it. We're going to have all newcomers joining. This is our vision. And I really want you guys, because you guys have been following us for a long time, you guys have been helping us. And we really
Hmm.
want, to have you guys as the founding members to really build a strong, like family bond culture so that when people come in, like they really feel the love inside, right? And I message each of them and I ask them to write, inside the chat, like how can you contribute to the community and what do you want to gain from the community, right? And if you don't reply these two questions by certain date, I will kick you guys out. I literally said that because it's no point if you just keep seeing notifications, but if you're not responding, that is really damaging the brand. And because
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
I don't think you should have done that, by the way. But continue.
Yeah, because one of the challenge we're facing is because the software it requires everybody to use it. If one party is using it and the other party is not using it, it will affect the active ones. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's why I decided to, if you don't want to be active, like yeah, let's give a
You're
small.
gonna have to fix that because right off the bat, I can tell you that majority of people are not going to.
Right.
Here's the thing, right? So I have a community, Night Owl Nation,
Yeah.
obviously, and my mom, my sister, and my wife is in it. None of them engage. Okay,
Yeah.
so you're gonna like, and then like I just went to New York 2 weeks ago, and I'm in this mastermind group, and this was like a meeting with 14 people, and in that room, I found out that three of them are in my membership, and
Ooh.
they're like, son, I love your content. They're like, I'm a fan and blah 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 blah. But you know what I found out? All three of them didn't even know about Sunday service, small group meetings. Like they didn't know. Like this is how people are. Everyone is busy living their own life, right? So like we can't expect people to be involved in our thing
Mm-hmm.
like that much, right? So it's not like it's similar to you, right? Like yes, we have this relationship, and you want to learn from me. That doesn't mean you want to join a small group and you want to like you're gonna keep coming to every small group for 11 weeks.
True.
Do you understand what I mean? And this is just like we need to think about how we are in the Facebook groups that we belong to. How many Facebook groups do you belong to, right? How many communities do you belong to? Like how many subscriptions like Netflix, Hulu Plus that you have that you don't even open, right?
Yeah.
That's the reality of things. So we can't. I think you're gonna have to assume that majority of the people are not gonna engage, and that's okay.
Mm.
Like but you still need to create a place for them, and
Right.
then make sure that you're getting the most out of the people that are engaged. Then you know. So I don't want you to expect that. I want you to expect that minority of people are going to engage and most of the people won't. And though, how can we how can you gamify this so that eventually, maybe not next month, maybe not 6 months from now, maybe not a year from now, eventually these people will come here, right?
Right. Yeah, because I'm not sure if
But
this.
you don't want to kick them out. that's
Yeah,
that's
I
definitely
I,
not
I
the right
think
way to go.
I kind of, yeah, because I think back then I was feeling I only want to serve 100 people, and if you and it's each spot is golden, right? Specifically, it is free for you guys.
Mm.
Like they take out like 60 seats, right? So that means I can only get 40 people in. So I think like, hey, if you're not serious,
Why only 100 people?
um, number one, I'm playing the scarcity game, and number two, I really want to make sure that we got 100 people strong and become our super fan. So then next round, when we scale to the moon, then I they will help with the community. So the whole idea is we have the founding,
Okay, so,
yeah, we have
yeah.
the beta
So
members.
that means you're still in the founding stage. It's kind of like when beginning days of Facebook when you can only join if you have an EDU or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah. Anyways,
Like
like
invite only or something.
I don't know. So yeah, so right now, like example, right, like 60 of them, like 30 people reply that they want to
Mhm.
stay. Cool. So then they stay, right? And then today we just open it to the wait list, right? So whoever wants to join can join. By the way, sorry, I think I forgot to give you this important information is this group is free with,
Mhm.
let's say, with 5 features for free. And then if you want to unlock full access, it will be a paid service. So
Got
only
it.
the paid ones I want to work with 100. But for the free
Okay.
group, I welcome everybody, as many as possible.
I got it.
Yeah.
So
So
you right now, when you talk about the 60 people, you're talking about those are paying members.
yeah, which they don't need to
Okay.
pay because in return they help us with building the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah, but now we don't have 60 because I kicked out 30 already. So now we have 30
Mhm.
people, so
Got it.
called in the paid group. But again, I think, I don't know if this is the right move, anyways.
Mhm.
So today we open it, right? And so let's say we have like the free and the paid, right? I, for all the ones who are the 30, I did not immediately put them into the pay group. I want them to make one more commitment first, which is at least help me promote the group, right?
Mhm.
Because if you want to stay, that means you're a founding member, and you should. I mean, you are the role model for the newcomers, right?
Mhm.
So I put everybody into the free group, inc- I mean, with the 30 people, and I privately create another group, another channel, and I tell them, hey, once you help us promote, at least write as a testimonial, right? Because you guys have been here for a
Mhm.
couple months. Once you did that, I immediately put you into the pay group.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I think it's because I want to see
I
people.
feel like you're coming up with a lot of. I see a lot of like founder mistakes, because I feel like you're putting a lot of thought into how it should work, and this is how it works, and this is what we're selling. But what I would love to hear from you first
Mm,
is, what is that huge problem that you're solving? Like, and when I say huge problem, right? Like, people are not really gonna pay to for any kind of service or any kind of thing unless they have like a pain that they need to resolve, right? And that pain has to be big enough that, like, oh my gosh, I don't have any dates, so I need to lose some weight, like, because I'm out of shape, or uh like um like, even like the Twitter or Instagrams, like, blue check mark, right? People like feel that they need that blue check mark, or people feel that, so, you know like, or when you're trying to access this information, and like, you really like want to, you're like dying to get this information, but it's locked, so you have to pay for it.
yeah,
Unless there's like there's a strong pain or problem that people need to solve, they're not really going to put in any effort. And it doesn't matter if it's free or paid, because if it's free, you still need them to engage, right?
yeah,
You don't want just somebody to sign up and never show up again, right?
yeah,
But for somebody to invest that time and do that, there has to be a big enough problem. And I want to nail it down to one. When you're starting out, you shouldn't be like, oh, uh, like like, running a business is boring, so I want to make it fun. Like, that's not a big enough of a itch that needs to be scratched that people are gonna willing to jump in, right? Like, it, and I'm sure, like, in your daily life, it's the same thing, right? Like, whenever something's not an emergency, you're gonna be like, oh, I'll do it later, and then next week turns into a month, and that turns into 3 months, and never, right? So that's kind of how this business works.
yeah,
So I want to ask you, what is that one big problem that your audience wants to solve? Like, a good example is, like, I want to get 1,000 followers in the next 30 days, right? That's like a specific enough of a problem that if you're delivering that, people will act. Do you know what I mean?
yeah. I think our core problem we want to solve is to help them to get more engagement on Twitter. If this is the, if I can only say one, but obviously
Hmm.
we want to move. We want to.
Then I would say you solve that first before you do anything else. Like, even Netflix, right? Why do you think that when Squid Game came out, all these people joined Netflix for one specific thing? They just want to watch Squid Games,
Yeah,
right? But you know what I mean?
yeah,
So you have to start with one, and you need to get that one main thing, like, up and running and just done, and then you can start growing it out. What happens is, if you're like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want it to be a place where you can do this, do this, then ultimately, you're just gonna, it's gonna, number one, you're spinning too many dishes at once. You're dividing your attention to all these different things. So it's you're not you're gonna do all those things mediocre. And also, nobody's looking for that. people want people will join to fix one problem. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I
And then later on, you can use that brand to grow and do all this other stuff. That, the biggest mistakes that people see is people see something like Mind Valley, they see Jay Shetty's Genius community, they see these huge communities, and they try to replicate that. They're like, oh, they're successful, so I'm going to try to do that, right? I see a lot of beginning freelancers do this, like when they first start freelancing or first start agencies. They look at Ogilvy, they look at RGA, they look at these big successful agencies, and they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I'm gonna be like them because there must be something that they're doing right there. That's why they're big, right?" And they try to replicate them. But what happens is there's a there, there's a stage of the business where, like this stage, and there's different stages of a business,
Yeah.
right? And they're already here. But if they started out like that, it wouldn't have worked. Do you
Yeah,
know what I mean? It's
absolutely.
kind of like, when Tesla first started, they just started with the Roadster. They just started with the most expensive Roadster and they just went after the people with a lot of money who's willing to pay like hundred and something $1,000 for this kind of car because they're just like a motor enthusiasts. Okay. And then from their point on, they start grew little by little by little, and now they're more mainstream audience, right? But your early adopt, like there's like if you look at that curve, like if you look at the curve like of the customers like this, what happens is all during the early age, those are your diehard fans. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Like those people are the ones that was with let's say Apple, like from early days. These are hardcore developers that are going to the Apple like Apple Developer Conference every year. They have tattoo rainbow in their arm. Like those are those people, right?
Yeah.
That's not how Apple markets now. So if Apple started like trying to do what they're doing now back then,
Yeah.
that wouldn't have worked, right? And then there's the
Yeah.
early adopters after that, which is the ones that are more willing to take the risk and things like that. And then once it gets to a certain size, then you go into slightly into the mainstream audience and things like that. Right now, I get the feeling that you're trying to like do this when you should be doing this. So here's a
Um
good example.
I think the challenge is the software. I mean, the
Well,
software,
before we talk about software, I don't want to talk about solutions yet. We're still in the problem, right?
yeah, I mean the
So,
problem we want to solve is the using the software can solve it. But to get people to use the software, we need the
but
community.
nobody's asking for that. Well, nobody's asking for that. Nobody's asking for community. Nobody's asking for the software. Nobody's. That's what I'm trying to say. When I talk to new freelancers and things like that, it's like I see it in the marketplace, and the problem is that all these people, they just want logo, they just want copywriting, but like what these people really need is like brand strategy, and they need to be able to work through their brand storytelling and all of that. That's what they really need. That's what's missing in the marketplace.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm gonna do, right? So they call themselves this brand strategist, or they call themselves this like I help you find clarity, or like they start out with these things because they think that that's what they need, right? But then if I go into now, and that's also what I do brand strategy and
Mhm.
brand storytelling in my agency. But if I go into a networking party and somebody asks me, "Son, what do you do?" and I say, "Oh, I do brand strategy and brand storytelling for personal brands. I work with them to find clarity, blah blah blah," and they're like, "Oh, that sounds cool," and that's about it. Okay. But as soon as I say as soon as they say, "What are you doing?" I say, "Oh, I'm a web designer," they're gonna be like, "Oh, I need a website," or "Oh, I know somebody who needs a website." Right? It's because we're not paying attention to what the people are actually asking for. We're only paying attention to what we think they need. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah.
So I can guarantee you, there's nobody out there going like, "Oh, I need to find the community," or "I need to find the," like nobody's doing that. Everybody's going like, "I need to grow my Instagram. I need to grow my Twitter." That's what people are asking for.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean? So unless you have that thing, that's how you get in the door, right? So for me, when we're starting out, I have to say I'm a web designer. We do websites, and then once the customer comes, then we give them a website. But through the experience, we show them that what we do is a lot more than that. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
But you're never going to get people in the door if you're selling all of this. It's kind of like, let's say you're a food court that sells like pizza, hamburgers, sushi, and Chinese food, right?
Yeah.
And somebody's just looking for really, really, really good sushi, right? Do you
Yeah.
think they're ever going to go to you? Let's say you have the best sushi in the world. Like, they're still not going to go to you because what they're looking for is good sushi. They're not looking for a food court. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's similar. Like, so what I said before about what freelancers do is a lot of freelancers look at Ogilvy, who's a full service agency, RGA, full service agency, meaning they do everything from branding, logo, identity, website, social media, blah, blah, blah. And then, as a designer can do all of that, right? So when clients come, they're like, "Oh yeah, I can do your brochure, I can do your logo, I can do your website, I can do your menu and all of that, right?" Who do you think are looking? And then these people come to me and say, "Son, I have a hard time getting like high paying good clients," and and I'm like, "Who do you think are looking for a full service agency like that where they're doing everything?" Those companies are either Fortune 500 companies who are IBM, who's looking for like Ogilvy, or a mom and pop restaurant that just opened that needs a logo, menu, website, and all of that, right?
Yeah.
So kind of mid-sized businesses, like the kind of companies that we're working with, like Spotify, American Red Cross, those kind of companies, they already have a logo. They already have all of those other things. That what they're looking for is specifically somebody who's expert in website, and not only that, but expert in WordPress or expert in something that can just come in and do that part, right? So a lot of these entrepreneurs that you think that want to join your community, they're not going like, "Oh, I wish I had a network of entrepreneurs that I can ask questions and get feedback on." Like, they're not looking for that. They're looking for one thing. They want to grow Twitter. Do you know what I mean? And then once they come in, they see this thing. They're like, "Oh, this is working. Oh, this is helping me grow my Twitter." Then all those other and then you show them all those other things. Then they're gonna be like, "Oh, okay." They might use it. They might not use it. They might see the benefits of it. But like, nobody's asking for that. Is what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, does that make sense to you, or do you disagree?
No,
Do you think people are asking for it?
I think it's absolutely right. I'm just thinking, am I applying what you said in my community? I
I
think,
think you have to be hyper focused on one thing and get one thing running up and running and done, and it's working to a point where people that are coming to your community that are using that part
yeah.
says, "Okay, this is working. I gained X number of followers in X days." Like, proof that it's working. Once you've done that, number one, you gain the trust of those members. These members like, "Oh shit, this community really works." So the next thing that you apply, give them, they're gonna be more willing to buy into that. You understand what I mean?
Yeah. I think
And number two,
my question is, okay, because right now we're definitely the problem that we're solving is for sure helping people to get more followers and get more engagement. Like, this is the core problem that we're solving. The next problem is to monetize, but the core, it's what I just said, right? And
those are two different things, by the way,
yeah.
because there are people who have trouble getting followers, and then there are people who have trouble monetizing, and usually they're not the same people,
Yeah.
because the ones that want to monetize can already have followers. Do you understand what I mean?
I see a pattern on Twitter is like a lot of they 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 think. I think somehow it also makes sense is when you have a strong audience base, like enough followers, enough engagement, it is so much easier for you to monetize rather than if you have only 100
That's
followers.
not true. It's not true, because this is what usually happens. Most people think that followers translate to money. So that's why when you go on YouTube, when you go on Twitter, when you go on Instagram, the most popular content is how to get X number of followers in X number of days. right? Like it's usually not how to monetize your audience, or you know what I mean. So, but what ends up happening is people do that, and they grow to 100,000 followers, right? And they realize, oh shit, I'm still not making any money. Like, why is that person with 10,000 followers making 10 times more money than me? I have 100,000 followers. That's the place they get to. That's the next. That is a stage that most of these entrepreneurs face. First, they're like, oh, I'm just gonna grow followers, grow, and then once they get to a follower, only about 1 out of 10 of them are actually monetizing it, right? Like there are people with 10 million followers on TikTok that are still living with their parents. Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So, and then they get to that point, they're like, why am I not making money? I have these like, I had a friend who had who grew like 100,000 followers in like a year, and on Instagram, and he tried to sell an ebook about how to grow Instagram, and 30 people bought it. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is the next set of problem that they're facing. So now they need to solve that, right? So, but they don't even realize that that's a problem until they get to 100,000 followers, right? So in the beginning, all their focus is how do I get more followers, because they're literally thinking that followers equals dollar, but it's not true at all. You know, I go on IG live sometimes with somebody that has 200,000 followers, and then like only like 60 people show up on the live, right? Sometimes I go on IG live with like someone who has 20,000 followers, right? Like 10 times less followers, and then 400 people show up, right? That means that means one of them is able to monetize and the other one's not able to monetize, because how many meme accounts follow? How many accounts do you follow that you would never buy from, right?
Yeah.
And you're just following them because like, and then how many people that that you follow that you're like super fan of that you would actually buy from them, right? Those Every follower is not the same, right? So, but that's the second set of problem. Like how to that's now we're dealing with how to monetize, right?
Yeah. I think
But I don't think.
oh yeah, yeah. I think like our overall tagline is to ultimately, like help them monetize their superpower. Like this is the big thing that we're doing. And this was like my solution is kind of in
Can I
multifold.
ask you why? Why why is that your tagline, and why is that your mission, and why why did you choose that as the business that you want? Like let's say imagine you're in Shark Tank right now, and I'm Kevin O'Leary, and you're
Yeah.
pitching to me for investment on your company, right?
Yeah.
Tell me why you chose that problem to solve, and why you're the best person to do it.
Okay.
Pitch to me.
Why I want to solve this particular problem to help people monetize their expertise is because I see a lot of people around me, like most of my friends, they're doing
Hmm.
a 9 to 5 job that they really hate. And I think they're
Hmm.
really wasting every single moment in their life. And I truly
Hmm.
believe we all have an expertise. I would call it a superpower that we have inside.
Hmm.
And I think our
Hmm.
superpower can definitely impact the world and even like save the world in small or
Hmm.
big impacts, right? So,
Hmm.
what if we could find somebody that they think our solution is very important to the problem, and if they
Hmm.
can tap into that and they can help people to solve problems, they can absolutely make a
Hmm.
lot of money, and they will feel they're playing while working because to them it's
Hmm.
so easy to use that superpower, right? And I want
Hmm.
to see more people using what they are good at, their gift, to serve the world
Hmm.
instead of working for somebody else that they are very bored with what they're doing.
Okay. And why are you the best person to do this? Like
Wow.
I literally see 100,000 people out there that does that are saying, oh, like, like turn your superpower into, like from passion to profit. Like one of my clients is Jay Shetty. He has a $40 course called From Passion to Profit, right? Like I I literally see everyone Twitter saying like their whole message is about quit your job and go follow your dream. Like take your expertise and go make content on YouTube, right? Same thing. Like take your teach that like it's literally one of the most flooded marketing message I see out there. Okay, so why you? Why should I choose you over the other million people that are saying the same thing?
Hmm. I mean, I have. I think it's a good question. Like, people asked
Mm,
me this before as well. Um,
mhm. And what do you usually answer? And don't tell me the whole like, there's like some brainwashing going on in this industry where people are like, oh, just because other people are doing it doesn't mean you like. That's a marketing tactic made up by these people up here so that they can sell you. Like the people that have already made it, right? The ones that are doing $10 million launches, like Murray Forleo, these people like Dean Graziosi and Russell Brunson and Justin Welsh and all those people, they've already made it, right?
yeah,
And they need to somehow sell this shit, right? It's like that's why I said it's like a big pyramid scheme. Like now they need to sell this, so what they're doing is, okay, in order to sell this, I need other people to quit their job and do what I'm doing, right? So what they do, and then they have all the same problems. So what they came up with this tagline, like I've been doing this for 20 years now. You know what I mean? So I know all the marketing messages that they use. So if somebody's like, oh, but there's so many people out there that do the same thing I do, and the canned answer that you're gonna get is like, yeah, but you're gonna do it your way. You're unique. You're special, right? Or like that like there's enough there. That's a scarcity mindset. Like there's plenty of people. You need an abundance. Like I know all the canned answers that everyone gives, but those are just answers that they came up with so that they can sell you their product.
yeah,
Do you understand what I mean? So that doesn't necessarily mean that's true. Like not all 100,000 people are gonna like maybe 10% of those people are gonna be successful in that thing, but most people are not. What I want from you is I want you to be able to build a tangible business that people actually want and they buy, and you can actually grow this business, right? Not like a pipe dream. So
yeah.
that's why I'm really really drilling down and asking you, um, like, and here's another thing, like when you sell something like a lot of people in this industry like to do vague kind of marketing, like, oh, I'm gonna help you, like Marie Forleo's tagline is what, like, or now it's different, but back then it used to be like, um, get you can get anything you want, or like what, you know, like make money doing what you love, or something like those type of
Hmm.
messaging. Um, that's very broad, right? So like, how am I gonna measure that? Okay, so number one, how are you going to measure that I'm actually making good money,
Yeah,
and how are you going to measure that that came from you, and then how are you going to measure that how passionate I am about something? How do you? It's something that's kind of vague. It can't be measured, right? It just woo woo sounds nice, right? But then if I say to, I'm going to help you grow 10,000 followers in 30 days, right? That's something measurable. Like you can see if it's done or not done. That's why those businesses last longer, because did you deliver on your promise or not, right? But then those other businesses, it sounds nice, but people are like, I've already heard so many people say that, so I don't know if I trust you. That's how it's gonna go.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I Yeah, I absolutely get what you mean, right? It's kind of, I think it's kind of, mm,
I would like. I think you should go into your personal life and think about what worked for you, and what was the breakthroughs that you've had, right? At a granular level.
I think this is actually like very related to one of the story that I've created along the NON journey, right? Um, and I think this is a theme in my life that I want to build a business around this theme, and this theme is collaboration or teamwork. because yeah, I'm gonna share with you the story that I think really
Hmm.
changed my life, and that's
Hmm.
why when it comes to the solution that I'm building, it's all about collaboration and mastermind. It's about helping each other to grow and get leverage. I think this is the whole theme, and that's why whatever that I'm building.
How did that help you? Like, how did collaboration help you?
Um,
When was the moment you were like, I'm so glad I did that because it helped me this way, right? And I would even want to ask you, like, how did you grow your Twitter?
yeah, maybe I share with you my story and
Hmm.
why I think
Hmm.
to me like collaboration is important, and that is why I'm building this thing. This story happened five years ago. Um, in Hong Kong, we got a hiking race. It's called Trail Walkers, and it's a 100-kilometer hike. And I never thought I want to do this. It's never on my bucket list. It's just one day when I was, working, and I was working in a co-working space back then, and I saw an uncle, 60 years old, came back from the hike, and then he was like nothing, right? He doesn't feel tired or anything. And then I was like, huh, seriously, is it that easy or that fun to join? And then he was trying to tease me like, wow, you're so young, like you definitely should join. You should join with your colleagues because we're all very young people, right? And then I was like, sure, why not? And then I take his challenge and I start forming the team with my colleagues. And then after 3 trainings with him, with my colleagues, they all quit. But I don't know, somehow I just feel so passionate and I want to do that because I already started and I start falling in love and I say, hey, if you can do it, like you're 60 years old, right? Like I'm just like half of you, right? Less than half of you. So
Hmm.
for sure I can do it. Then I decided to, because this game, it's a team game. It
Hmm.
we need 4 people in a team to complete this challenge. You cannot do it by yourself. Otherwise, it will be very meaningless because you need 4 names to sign up, and then at the end,
Hmm.
once you complete, all the 4 certificates will be exactly the same with all 4 names in it. So then
Hmm.
I checked my phone and I was thinking, who shall I call to do this crazy thing with me? Because 100 kilometer, right? It's not a normal person wouldn't do that. So then I called 3 guys and they all said yes to me, like on the phone. Then I was like, oh my god, I really need to do this now because they all said yes, right? So then because they don't know each other, so every we decided to train every Saturday, and we don't even know if we get the chance to participate because many people want to compete in this race. So since March, we practice every week, literally every week, and I have to show up because they don't know each other, right? So I was the weakest one, but then because I keep showing up, now I'm not the weakest one anyway. So we all, it's really like one team, one heartbeat, kind of saying, right?
Hmm.
And along the way, we face so many challenges. Like each of us, we got some sort of problems, but I think
Hmm.
it is because only because we are doing it as a team. Otherwise, I'm sure I cannot make it because exactly 2 weeks before the challenge, the hike, I got sick, like big sickness, big illness, and I was
Hmm.
actually taking antibiotics. And the
Hmm.
doctor told me like you definitely should not go for the hike, right? Because you're so sick. But I was like, I cannot because I cannot let my teammates down. And I've been training for 9 months, and we all rely on each other, right? And yeah, I cannot give up on them, and I'm sure they won't give up on me. So even when I was taking antibiotics on the competition day itself, like I decided to just go all in. Yeah.
That's so much better of a, because I read that story before, but the way you told it now is so much better version of it. Because now you realize, like, because before there was no real transformation, but now I think there's a clear transformation, which is like you realize the power of teams, you realize the power of accountability, and like of depending on somebody else. Because before the story was all about you. I just pushed through and I just did it, right?
Okay.
But do you understand what I
Yeah, yeah,
mean?
yeah. So I think that literally changed how I see life. Um, Oh my god, like
So let's say, can we apply that to when you quit your job and went out on your own? Like, was there a familiar moment there where you were like, okay, I I also need a team, or I need community, or whatever. I need other people in order to do this too. Like, was there a similar moment
yeah, maybe
in
I'll
this
share a
or
little
growing
bit
Twitter?
more.
Yeah.
I think since young, I'm always the odd one. Like I don't feel connected with a lot of people, and like it's for me. I think it's very hard to find like-minded people, so to say.
Hmm.
So when I so like first of all, like being an entrepreneur, it's already a small group of people, right?
Hmm.
And from this group of entrepreneurs, most people think they want to do things alone, right? Or they think I can do everything by myself, right? Actually, including me. So
Hmm.
so although I have this like light bulb moments with the hiking, when I quit my job, I kind of also think I can do everything by myself, and then I burn out. And then I burn out. That was another big hit. It's like, actually, I do have. Okay, I started by myself, and then someone wants to partner with me.
Hmm.
Actually, it is a perfect collaboration because what he's good at is
Hmm.
exactly what I'm weak at. But you know what? I don't know why. Again, I think it's a learning. Um, we worked together for 3 months. We immediately get great results. But then you know what I
Hmm.
told my partner? I said, I want to be the MVP. I want to be the MVP in the team. And I feel
That's
like,
also,
yeah,
that same personality is what makes an entrepreneur, right? So it's kind of a, it's like a vicious cycle, because the fact that we want to be the one to make the decisions. We want to be the one to put our ass on the line to fix this problem, is what makes us quit our job and become an entrepreneur. But it's also the same personality that makes us not want to, like, be part of a team also, right?
yes. So I think the actually the deep down limiting belief or the fear, actually I would say the word is fear, is because he's really good at like sales, actually like closing sales, right? And I think I'm not. This is definitely not my strongest one, although I need to be good
Hmm.
at everything, right? If I want to
Hmm.
continue this journey. So we actually like work pretty well. Like he immediately close sell. I think the biggest
Hmm.
fear is, what if one day you leave me?
Hmm.
Then my business will be completely done, right? Because sales is one of the important element, right?
Have you ever told this story in Night Owl Nation?
Never.
Okay. Have you ever told this story to anyone?
Yes, I think so. I mean personally, but I never actually like write in a post or something.
Okay. This is the one of the best stories I've heard. What you just said is what you just said, where, oh, what if he leaves me? Like, that fear is what, like, that every entrepreneur does. They're like, no, I can do it all myself. That's if you go dig deep down, that's actually what their worry is. But they would never out loud say it, because they don't want to, like, because that's vulnerable to say, right? It's not easy to say.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry, continue.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm afraid one day he'll leave me and I'm done. That's why
Hmm.
I think I have invested a lot of money and a lot of time to be good at everything. Because I think I need to be good at everything, so
Hmm.
I'm not afraid of someone leaving me.
It's so relatable.
I can
Yeah.
hire people. It doesn't matter. At least I know the skill, right? I can hire. If
Hmm.
you're leaving
You
me,
can
cool.
control it. Yeah.
I can replace with another person, but I know how to do everything. So then I kick him away, and then I am alone again. And after
Hmm.
3 months, I just burn out.
Hmm.
And then this story kind of ends a little bit, but dot dot dot, because I told myself I'm not quitting, but I'm just pausing the business because I'm sure I'm gonna come back to this with a better business model or better idea, something like that. So then
Hmm.
after a year, back then I was very focusing on Facebook, and I don't want to play in that game because I think the market is so saturated. And then, interestingly, someone introduced me to Twitter, and I was like, "Oh, interesting!" And people are very nice on Twitter. The vibe is very different. Then I
Hmm.
started to write on Twitter. Again, I did not write about coaching and sales or anything or monetization because I don't have a new I don't have a product yet. I don't have an offer yet. I
Mhm.
don't want to write again what I've done, right? So I just write whatever I want. And as you asked me, like why I started Twitter and how I grow, right? Is I was thinking, I I want to do this with some people, with some friends. So then I go on back onto Facebook and also like WhatsApp, and I was asking, hey, who wants to do like an 30-day accountability challenge with me on Twitter? So every day I'm leading the group. Every day we post a tweet, and then we come back. We just engage with each other, with the link, right? And then after 30 days, we all can decide if you want to stay or you want to quit. It's fine, but at least you give yourself 30 days to have some fun with it. And I remember we start on the 1st of October. And before that, because I'm new to Twitter and I have no idea what is fast or slow in terms of audience growth. Because
Mhm.
on Facebook, I never need to think of this thing, right? It's not about growing, it's about closing clients. So then I
Yeah.
did a lot of research, and I actually made like a whole Notion document with all the strategies to grow my audience. And so
You did that for yourself, or you did that for
I did it for
the
myself
people
first,
that are
and then
doing
I
the
share with
challenge?
everybody. But obviously, not everybody wants to read it. But I mean, it's up to
Yeah.
them. So then each day I was posting tweets, and then I think what I'm tweeting, it's all about things I want to see for myself. So I see it as a public journal for my future self to read or for my future kids to read. This is my intention, right? So I want to make sure I'm writing something good. And then I think around on day 10, I was, on Twitter, you can keep finding and connecting and meet a lot of different people, right?
Mhm.
And learn from them. Then I saw this account. Her account is all about building community. And I think, wow, she's like so smart. She's only on Twitter for 3 months, July to October, and she grew to 3,000 followers, literally like 1,000 per month, right? Then I was like, wow,
Mhm.
how did she do it? So I scroll all the way back from her first post and I try to understand what she did. And then again, I steal all the ideas and I know how she did it. Um, her idea is community. uh, I'll just share like one really fascinating idea is she always asks people to introduce themselves, and then she will quote retweet it and say, it's like a shout out and spotlighting her audience instead of spotlighting
Mhm.
herself. I think this is so smart. And I'm
Mhm.
going to mention her name because actually since October, she completely disappeared. Her name is like Jessica Chen. And then her community, she called it JC community because Jessica Chen, right?
Mhm.
And I was like, oh my God, this is so lame. Like, how would you call the community your name, right?
Mhm.
Unless you really think you're so big, right?
Mhm.
So then
Mhm.
on that day itself, I was thinking, wow, I really want to build a community as well, but I don't want to use it my name, not Stephanie Lau's community or not SL community.
Mhm.
It's so lame. So then
Mhm.
I come up with the idea again. I don't know how I pop up this word, but I think it kind of relates back to what I've been doing in the past, which is monetizing your expertise. Back then, I used the word expertise. Then one day I was thinking, oh, how about the word superhuman? Number one, it is an identity. It is not about Stephanie, but it's about
Okay.
we're sharing
I want you
an
to
identity.
stop there.
Okay,
I want you to stop right there because the best stuff the best stuff is everything that you set up to now. Everything that you're about to say now with the superhuman and all the business plan and all of that, let's put that on the shelf for now. Okay.
okay,
In your real everyday life, right? So, like, when you did that, the 100K uh
hiking.
race,
Yeah.
right? Like, what role did you play in that team? Like, do you think those people would have joined if it wasn't for you?
They would not join. It's all because of me.
Why?
I did ask them as well. Um, they couldn't answer. I'm sure I say something on the phone that made them say yes. I don't remember what I've said, but definitely
Okay.
they say yes on the phone. They did not even think about it.
Have you had similar experiences in your life where you were trying to get people to buy into an idea or you're trying to get somebody to come to the birthday party, or you're trying to get some, like trying to plan a trip for a group. Like, is this like a recurring theme in your life?
I think I'm quite good at starting something and organizing something. Like I'm usually the one who take initiative to create
Hmm.
things. It's yeah. I seldom join,
If I
but usually
asked
I
your
create
friends,
things. Yeah.
yeah. So if I talk to like a group of your friends, and
Hmm.
I would, I ask them, "What's Stephanie's superpower?" Like, what, right? Like,
I
what?
yeah.
What is your? What do you think they'll say?
I think
Not what you think, but what do you think they'll
yeah.
say?
They will say I'm very approachable, very friendly, and I can connect people because I have a really good vibe and positivity.
Are would you consider yourself a connector? Like, do
Yeah.
you introduce people to each other?
Do I introduce people to each other? I'm happy to, for sure, and I love connecting with people, and I love
Okay,
doing things that we can win together.
okay. Sorry. So I want to go back to the story of, so you're at day 10 and you figured this out, and then how did that 30-day challenge go? What did the last 20 days look like?
Okay, so since I come up with the superhuman idea,
Hmm.
um, then I just change my bio and cover photo with the superhuman blah blah blah. And apart from the accountability group I also initiate an engagement group on Twitter. And the
Okay.
the concept is very different. Accountability is
Hmm.
every day we support each other, make sure we're posting. On
Hmm.
engagement is I put the link there and I'm expecting other people to interact, and I'll do the same. And I've seen
Okay.
thousands of engagement groups. Everybody's like doing similar things like that.
Hmm.
Anyways, I
Like
go
engagement pods.
yeah,
Yeah.
engagement posts, correct. So
Do they do that on like Telegram or something?
it could
Like
be
how
in
do they?
anywhere. It could be on Twitter itself. Usually, you don't on the Twitter because you're afraid people are gonna ban you. Telegram, WhatsApp, Discord. Yeah, I
Okay.
think a lot of people are on Discord. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Did that help you at all?
I think um, I think definitely it helped me, but I'm not gonna contribute a big percentage to.
Okay. What about your accountability group?
Okay, to be honest, if I really want to do something, I think I can do it by
Hmm.
myself. But of course, with a group, I feel more excited to motivate others. Because,
Yeah.
and
Do they? Did you see engagement within that group?
yeah, both,
Like,
both.
meaning people that are in that group will come and like comment on each other's posts and things like that.
Yeah, both. But definitely, I think because the accountability group, some of them are my friends. I know them like some time ago. But for the engagement group, I don't. We don't know each other. We just group together with the same goal, and then let's collaborate and get
Got it.
leveraged.
Okay.
I think with the accountability group, actually, I feel like I benefit the most because it's same for the hike, right? Because since I initiate this, I need to show up. Just the
Yeah,
hike,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
The three of them they don't know each other, so I must show up every time. And same for the accountability because I created this stuff, so
Hmm.
I have to tweet every day,
Hmm.
and so then I can loudly inspire you guys and motivate you guys. Hey, have you done your part? So I
Hmm.
think I'm
Hmm.
actually the biggest winner here,
Hmm.
kind of. But of course, like everybody's
What?
gonna win.
How many people did that challenge? The
We
30
have
day challenge.
7 people.
And how many of them stayed through the whole thing?
Um, okay, so some people kind of missed a few days, and then after 30
Hmm.
days, four of us decided to continue. But if you ask
Hmm.
me today, only I'm continuing.
After the 30 days?
No, after 30 days, then four of us we continue. I think we have
Hmm.
continued for maybe a month or two.
Okay.
Then two
But
people
before
reflected. Yeah,
for the 30 days, all 7 people were in it.
yeah.
Were they engaging with each other?
kind of. I think 80-90%. Yes.
And did you guys get to know each other? Were they like? Did you guys get to know each other if they were strangers?
Um, I think back then the idea is not really to know each other, but it's just to hold each other accountable. So I don't even,
Got it.
yeah, we didn't even hop on a call to discuss ideas. But after the 30 days with the 4 people left, including me, we had 2 calls. I think 1 call per month. So
Hmm.
kind of sharing ideas on, hey, I think this works or that didn't work. So it becomes like a mastermind. But after 2 months,
Got it.
because two of them are not really wanting to continue, or a couple days and they'll post one time, then the group kind of dies down.
Got it. Okay. And then can you want
Yeah.
to
Oh,
now
maybe.
let's go back,
Uh,
pull this back.
sorry. Maybe before you share these things, I also want to share. When I was working in Mind Valley, after I quit, I still have like really good relationship with some of the colleagues. So we formed a mastermind group, and I think that also helped me a lot. So in that mastermind group, again, 4 of us, we meet every week. Oh, we meet every week for I think a good 2-3 years every week. Um,
I would suggest you to to me, it's so crystal clear. The next step in your business is to expand that mastermind group where you really need to find like-minded people, get them into a group and just meet on Zoom every week. Do you understand what I mean? And then just keep growing that, growing that, growing that, growing that, right?
yeah,
And then even do a 30-day challenge within that group, right? So then every week you kind of share struggles, blah, blah, blah. And what's going to happen is within that group, as they're doing that, like you don't need like engagement pods, you don't need to like have apps, you don't need like this Slack Discord channel, like you don't need any of that. What you need is you just meet once a week in that group and you do a 30-day challenge and say, hey, use superhuman 30-day challenge hashtag and just go post, right? And then every week you talk about that or share struggles, and what's going to happen is they're going to start following each other,
yeah,
and they're going to start commenting each other's posts, they're going to start engaging with each other's posts, and and then they're going to start becoming friends with each other, and then at a certain point this is going to take a life of its own. Do you understand what I mean?
I think
I just feel like
I'm kind of doing this. I'm kind of doing this.
you need to go all in on that. You need to go all in on growing this organic community first and then turn this into a product. Not like try to, because right now what you're doing is you're artificially creating a product and then you're trying to get people to buy into it, right?
Yeah,
Like what needs to happen is it needs to organically grow, and then eventually and then you monetize that. Do you understand what I mean? And it doesn't have to be done on Discord. Like up to a certain point, I just think you should do it on just whatever platform. If it's Twitter, on Twitter, and then just do a Zoom, and then get more people in, more people in, more people in, right?
yeah. Actually, it comes back to the shelf thing.
Hmm.
So, as I mentioned, right, I don't know what is the offer I want to do, but I realize everybody wants to meet a lot of people, right? Because I chat with people and everybody wants to connect more. So my actually first product is a 2-hour superhumans networking party,
Hmm.
and it goes pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So keep doing that, and
yeah. Now I'm
I'm just
putting it into a monthly subscription, including the party.
yeah. But do you guys meet weekly on Zoom? I feel like in the beginning, you like right now. I just feel like you're not at the stage where you should think about productizing it yet. I feel like you need to organically grow a community first, and then like once you have like once these people are already engaging with each other, once it's a real community already, then you can productize it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I think because like
Mm.
I've been in so many different social media uh, platforms before, and I've seen other people how they do it. And like that's kind of how, like what you were talking about is accountability. I didn't have an accountability group in when I started on Instagram, but usually what happens is on Instagram you start following like-minded people, and they start following you. And I'm on Twitter now, and the same thing is happening on Twitter. There's gonna be some people that are like they love your content, you like their content, and you start engaging with each other, and organically and then like somebody else like starts chiming in that thread, and it's like, okay, like now you meet a friend of a friend through this guy, and then it just starts organically growing like that, right?
Mm,
And then before you know it, you already have a community. Like it's not an official community, but you have a community of people that are talking to you or talking to each other almost on a daily basis. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
And then you can just translate that to, and then you can. So what I really like is I like the idea of doing that 30-day challenge again and again and again, and keep doing that challenge over. Like even maybe what you can do is you can create a lead magnet, like a
Yeah.
maybe you can
I,
create a
I
landing page where you say.
I already have it. But it's not 30 day.
So
It's
then,
a 5 day playbook.
but that's different. That's a lead magnet purely for the sake of collecting email. Like this is more of a lead magnet to actually build a community, right?
Yeah.
So you lead magnet, and then maybe you send out an email like, here are all the Twitter accounts that are on this, in our challenge. Go follow each other. If somebody's like, but you have to do it very like, how like you are very controlling about, I need to learn everything, I need to control everything. You can't grow a community like that. Like that's actually the mistake that I made.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Because the more you control, the less it's gonna grow. You kind of almost have to like let them do whatever they want. You gotta have like vague kind of goals and like processes, and then you kind of have to let them do it, and then it'll just start growing like wildfire. Do you know what I mean? What the role that you're really playing? I would almost like think of it like this. By the way, this is your story. Like you joined that 100K thing, and you were like very moved by it, and you realized that the power of like, team, or accountability, or depending on each other, right? But then like in business you went back to the same thing. You're like, I don't want to depend on anyone, I'm going to do everything myself, right? And then that's why you kind of like you that's why that didn't work out with your co-founder or whatever it
Yeah.
is. And then eventually, when you started growing Twitter, you were inspired by that person who was also collaborating, and then which reminded you of like why that thing was successful, right?
Hmm.
That 100K thing was successful because it kept you accountable. The other people depending on you kept you accountable, so you try to kind of apply the same thing with that 30-day challenge, right? And it worked,
Yeah.
right? That's enough. Now the next step is you just gotta expand that, because essentially what you're trying to do is you're trying to replicate that 100K thing here.
Yes.
So maybe the next step for you to do is like, so you replicated that here by doing the 30-day challenge with 7 people, right? Here you did a race with 4 people, and you did it. Here you did a 30-day challenge with 7 people, and you say you even did a mastermind group with 4 people, and you you did a Zoom call every week. Your next step is now create like 3 4 groups like that, where
Create.
those people
You mean I should create couple groups like this?
kind of like small group, like how we have small groups. So now get all your members, those 60 30 people, right? And then create like 6 7 groups like that of maybe 4 people each, and have them meet every week on their own, right? Like on Zoom or whatever,
Hmm.
kind of like what you did with your I'm asking you to do exactly what you did with your mastermind group that
And
you
then
formed.
I personally will participate in each group.
No, you participate in one of them, but everybody else participates in their own group. Do you understand what I mean?
Okay, so I belongs to one group only, but I inspire them to also form their own groups.
Yeah, and then see how that works, right? but that's all within the umbrella. So essentially, what's happening is here you are part of that team, but I'm sure there's some sort of association or group that was putting together that whole thing,
Yeah.
right? Now you're becoming that. You're becoming the one that, you know what I mean? So each people are going to form their own team. Do you understand me? Next step, that's what the next step is. Next step is you're trying to create a community of other people who can create team of force so that they can hold each other accountable.
Mm. Okay, I definitely want to do this, but now I already started, right? I mean, I started with a
Hmm.
free group and a pay group.
Hmm.
I definitely can add this element into the pay group, I think, because I kind of need to
No, you
define.
should never add anything. Like right now is a time where you have to remove stuff.
Okay,
Like
maybe.
you really need to get one thing up and running and done, and this one thing is like a well-oiled machine. It's perfectly working. Everybody loves it, and it's you're getting once one that one thing is successful, then you can start adding on other stuff. But right now, just getting one thing for a night owl, like the only thing right now I'm trying to do is get the small groups working, and get the and people to show up on Sunday service. That's all I'm really focused on, right? You know how hard that is.
Yeah.
Do you know how hard that is? It's impossibly hard. So this is what you're trying to do is not an easy thing. Like you want to do this and this all this other element. Just doing one of those things is so hard enough that even if you put 100% of your effort into that,
Yeah.
it's still gonna be hard.
Can you kind of
So
inspire me what to take away?
I really think that you should only do the engagement thing. I think you should do the thing that's gonna help people uh, grow their Twitter community, because there's no way. And I see some people out there that are kind of the old you, right? Like I see some people on Twitter, I see some people on Instagram that's like, oh, I don't need to network with anyone. I'm gonna grow this thing by myself. I'm just gonna every day I'm gonna post content. I don't need to engage with other people. I don't need to follow and be involved with other people. I'm just gonna post and ghost. Like
Mm,
I see a lot of people like that, right? Or even when they engage, they're not really engaging. They're like, like they're just they're like automating it, or they're creating it to robotic thing, right? But that's not how it works, right? If you go to Twitter, if you go to any social media, within that platform, there are these neighborhoods, okay? And when you form little cliques within that neighborhood, where okay, I know that person, I know that person, and that person knows me, right? And then you move up in that neighborhood, right? So first, I'm in this kind of network of 15, 20 people that I know on Twitter that are kind of like low level creators. But then I move up. Now I network with some of the higher level creator, and then I move up again, and then I move up again, and then now I'm friends with Dan Coe, Justin Welsh, and those guys, right? And this is how you grow.
mm,
Do you understand me?
yeah.
And this is how your business grows too. But there are a lot of people starting out that think that like I don't. Oh, I'm an introvert. I'm my own. Like they sit in their silo and they're like, my work will speak for itself, and they don't want to make friends, right? So what happens is they don't grow, and then even if they make friends and they get to a couple thousand followers or even 10,000 followers, they don't understand there's next level of friends that you have to make
Yeah.
to get to 100,000, and then once you get to 100,000, there's a next level of friends that have to make. There's no like no man's an island in this business. Do you know what I mean? Without the collaboration, without the support of other people, you're not
100%.
gonna get there.
Yeah.
And what you're doing is you're teaching people how to do that. You have to teach people how to do that. You have to show people how to do that because you've done it already once. And while you keep doing it, you, I mean, like to give you an idea, like to put it simply, like what you're doing is you're teaching people how to make friends, basically, on social media.
Yeah. And I actually
Because
agree
so
with you. People need to meet weekly. That really really help. Like on Zoom, right? It really helped better than whatever texting.
Yeah, so don't try to invent products and ideas and services that you haven't tried yourself. What I want you to do is Just do the things that work for you and then make incremental changes. What a lot of people are like, oh, this worked for me, so I'm going to automate it. Not knowing that if they did that again, there's going to be another problem, another problem, another problem. And when you automate things too soon, when you scale things too soon, then all your problems also are scaling with it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like, and one thing you haven't even realized that like that as you, once your community gets to like a couple hundred people, now there's going to be also drama within it,
Yeah.
where some this person hates this person, so you gotta learn how to fix that too. Like, grow slowly. Do you know what I mean? Just by adding one little thing. Like, don't try to like, oh, boom, boom, boom. Like, don't try to plan these things out, because I can guarantee you, whatever you plan, like you're gonna get squashed like a bug, because that's how universe works. Like, you can't, it's kind of like we all had a plan until COVID happened, and boom, like the universe was like, oh yeah, you have a plan, right? That's what's gonna happen in your business. No plan is like, you really need to make incremental tweak. Okay, that didn't work. Okay, next time let me try this. Okay, when it's like 4 people, like for example, when I first started small groups, we started out with 10 people,
Yeah.
and we quickly realized that that doesn't work. So we scaled it down to 6 people, because one time, like, some of the members didn't show up, and we realized that when it was 6 people, it was much more intimate and it was better. So we were like, okay, 6 people, and then on the next round, we had all these leaders that couldn't keep their group. Like, the members kept leaving their group, right? So we figured, okay, we need to do some like filtering, so that, like, okay, now the small group leaders, they need to be able to. The way we test small group leaders is they have to be able to find 2 members and to join their group, because the type of personality of the people, like, you found 2 people to join your running group, right?
Mm.
Like, the type of people that have that personality are natural leaders already. Do you understand? I mean, that's what we found
Do
out.
you think
So we
I should be the leader, or I invite members to be leaders and form their teams?
well, first you're the leader, right? And then maybe you help these people kind of like when they ask you questions, but at some point you need to train leaders, right? So you have to show people how to lead, right? But I mean, right now, I don't think you should plan anything. I think you should just look at what is the thing that's worked for you. And from what you're saying, it sounds like the accountability group, the mastermind thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
That works for me, right?
like,
Yeah. Yeah. In the past, yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
actually networking within Twitter, right?
Yeah.
Like, there are already things that work for you,
Yeah.
right? So now, next thing is, how can I help other people also utilize this, right? That's it. And then do that, and then let's say you got 30 people to kind of like use the same method that you used, or somehow you facilitate that, and now it's working for 30 people, right? then then next is like, okay, during that time, let's say you do that for the next couple months. During that time, you're also going to learn things. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, actually this doesn't work, but this really works well. And then now you apply that on the next couple months, right? And while it's growing, and it's just gonna, you really have to organically let it grow like that,
I think.
rather than trying to plan out the next 6 months.
Yeah. No. 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 I think for now, what I could do, like, I think it's like a really good tip. I think what I can do now, it's for all the people in the free group, I'm gonna do like a 30-day challenge. Do you think 30 days is too long for people? I think staying consistent is one of the biggest thing I see on Twitter. Like, everybody wants to do 10 things at the same time.
Yeah, like you.
Yeah. Oh, originally I want to do even more things. I already narrowed it down.
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't done the 30-day challenge, but it's. What do you think? Do you think the 30-day was too much?
If I run a very, very small group, I can keep pinging each person, right? But if I'm running a community, it's like every day I just write a prompt message, right? And of course I'll engage, but
Mhm.
I wouldn't really, hey son, like 5 more minutes, it'll be the next day. Like, make sure you're
Mhm.
commenting, make sure you're responding, right? I don't think I would do that.
You don't have to do that. Well, all you gotta do is like, because you have their emails, right?
Yeah.
So you just say, okay, here's day one. You know, if you don't have any idea, here are some here are some ideas that'll inspire you or something like that, and just set up a 30-day email, right? So that every day they'll get an email, right? And then once you finish the 30-day challenge, like start another challenge, right?
A
Start
different
another
challenge,
30-day
right? A
challenge.
different challenge.
No, the same one,
Okay.
but get new people in there.
Okay.
So once they finish the 30-day challenge, they're already kind of bought in, right? So now they're part of your community and they're already engaging with each other. Like it's it's not working unless there are people within your community that are already like there are people within Night Owl Nation that I don't even know who they are, but they're friends with each other.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They're like commenting.
I did ask what is the biggest value. They all said I've made a lot of great friends inside my community.
Oh, okay. So then that's already happening.
Yeah.
So like just keep encouraging that and keep yeah, I guess not right now you really need to figure out like I mean for me it sounds like your real selling point is accountability. Number one, like, and it fits with your story so much, right?
Yeah.
Starting from, I would have never done this 100K challenge, and I actually would have given up, but I knew that these two people were counting on me, so that's what kept me going, right?
Yes.
And then when I started my business, I realized that I'm a control freak. I want to control everything. So that's why I didn't want help from anyone. But I also realized from back in those days, from the running the race, I knew how important it is. That's why you started this 30-day challenge of accountability, right?
Yes.
And then what that's like you can't I always say this, you can't write a better story than the truth. You can't create a better business plan than what's already there. Like your message already is like, okay, you need accountability because we know you're not going to do it for yourself. I already know you're not going to do it for yourself. You think you're the shit. You think you're like, oh, I want to be the MVP. Like, I can do this all by myself. I don't need anybody. Like, but then that's not how you grow in Twitter. Like, to grow in Twitter, to grow in Instagram, and all those things. What needs to happen is you have to get in that neighborhood and you have to make friends with it. And those friends are going to introduce to other friends. And those people are going to introduce. And that's how you grow social media. And then once you get to a certain size, people in that industry, let's say you're a life coach, right? Let's say you're a yoga teacher. There's a yoga teacher community, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you made friends with 10 people there and you guys are like doing that. And then you grow. And that, like, now those people are going to start finding you, right? But in order to do that, you have to be consistent and you have to do that. You have to, you have to keep showing up and you have to engage and you have to actually make friends and then you go to the next level. And at a certain point, now you're kind of known in that yoga world, in the Twitter yoga world, Twitter life coach world, Twitter fitness world, Twitter marketing world. Like there's this world within Twitter, right? So you kind of get known in that, and then that's how you grow. Now, the reason why people don't do that is because number one, they don't have accountability, so they quit. So that's kind of the biggest thing, like you said. And number two is like because they're trying to do it all on their own, they're not actually building a community,
Yeah.
right? So the way you can facilitate that is to help them form groups based on interest or whatever it is. Have them do the exact same thing that work for you.
Yeah. Maybe I
So
shouldn't. Maybe this is what I'm thinking. Maybe in the free group, I can do like a 30-day challenge, and then for the pay group, because they pay, right? I will do a weekly mastermind call. What do you think?
yeah, maybe what you can do is in the paid group you do the mastermind call, and then have them create their own team with the people from the free group.
So their task is to find
Because
more members.
I feel like the reason why you did it with the four people is because it's not like somebody told you to do it.
Yeah. No.
You were inspired to do it on your own, and so you kind of have to give the members some sort of a freedom, some sort of responsibility, right? If you're like, oh, hey, do this, like that's not gonna work as well as, hey, let's say there's a life coach in your group, right? He's like, hey, why don't you start a life coach group within our community so that other life coach can join your group, and now that person's leading. Like now that person's going to take responsibility for it because they created the group,
Yeah.
right? You didn't like force them to do anything. They did it on their own. So they're going to take the responsibility to join.
Yeah.
And then like if you want the community to really grow, you have to more and more give people ownership,
Yeah.
right? Hey, why don't you come up with the idea for different content ideas and just send it to your group every week, something like that, right? So you got to find a way for like what I realized at Night Out when I first started is that I was trying to control everything. I was like, no, they got to do this, they got
I
to do
think
this,
I'm
they got to
still a
do this.
control freak. Oh my god.
No, I am too. But little by little, I'm letting go. What I'm starting to realize is I just said, oh, you want to start club? Oh, just go start a. So I had somebody wanted to start a club. So yeah, then just go do it. Like so, they created the space, they created the prompts, and they created the Zoom link. Every week they're meeting, and it's like now there's like 40 people in it that I didn't get involved at all. So the really way to grow a community, way to lead, is by helping getting them to lead themselves by giving them the ownership, because a lot of people do this, right? Oh yeah, I'm gonna give you ownership, you be in charge of that, okay? But then what they do is like, but come check in with me when you have your plan. Right? Like if you're gonna let them lead, give them ownership, let them make mistakes, let them fail, and let them fix it. Like, do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
and 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 then if there's really a problem, then at some point you might have to go in and fix it, but let them make those failures. Let them make, because it's really the only way they're gonna take enough ownership to take action.
Yeah. So let's say in the paid group, if they don't want to create the accountability group, fine.
That's okay
Yeah.
too. Like you're gonna have to start accepting the fact that not everybody's gonna like. There's like about 900,000 people in Night Owl Nation, and less than 200 of them are in a small group, right? More than like 400 people, like almost half the people that join Night Owl Nation, they pay $5 a month every month, and they've never attended small group. They've never attended Sunday service. They might just come in once in a while to watch one video. Like the level of commitment they want is up to them, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Some people join a gym New Year's, and they might go to the gym 5 times the whole year. Yet they're paying every. Some people might join Netflix and literally use it once to watch Squid Games and then never use it again and just keep paying $7 every month. It's up to them. But we can't. What you're hoping for is to eventually get them inspired enough when they see that, okay, we have 30 people, only 10 people are doing it, but these 10 people are thriving, right? When the other 20 people see that, they're going to be inspired to want to be like, oh shit, maybe I should get more involved, right?
Mm.
You can't lead people by force. The only thing you can do is you can show by action, and then let them be inspired.
Yeah. So for example,
Like
I
whenever.
run like a group with the paid, and then every week I
Mhm,
just post a picture. Oh, I'm with the Superhumans Mastermind group, right? And then hey,
mhm,
I want to inspire you guys to form your own group as well, just like what I did, right? So kind of
mhm.
lead by actually,
Lead by
yeah,
example.
lead by
Yeah,
example. Yeah.
lead by example, and then also those people are gonna leave. Like those people are gonna start talking about it. It's like, oh, let's say somebody formed their own group, right? And they're like, oh, in my group, like there are 4 people in my group, and they've all grew 1,000 followers in the last 60 days, and people are gonna see that, and they're gonna be like, oh shit,
Yeah.
and that's gonna inspire them. Maybe I should lead my own group, and somebody's gonna talk about, like leading my own group is the best thing I've done because I would have quit this 30-day challenge a long time ago, but because there's 4 people depending on me, that kept me going, and because I was consistent with it, my Twitter grew this much, right? Those are all inspiring stories. Like the reason why, if you look at our small groups, there's people in there who, in the beginning, told us, and I just kept told them to post it, and then like some people just kept posting every day, on TikTok, and literally in the beginning they will get like 20 people, 20 views, 50 views, like nothing. But
Suddenly,
those same people are now at like 40,000 followers, right? So, and then other new members now see that, and they're like, "Oh, I want to be like her," so they want to join her small group, right? And these are the kind of things that are going to start happening.
yeah, yeah. I definitely will.
You know,
Yeah.
another thing is, whenever I try to get people to tell stories, be like, "Hey, you got to do this to tell a story," blah 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 blah. Like nobody wants to do the assignment, nobody wants to do anything, right? And then all of a sudden on Instagram, I'll post a story. I'll write a story myself, and I'll post a story. Like I posted a story for Mother's Day. I post this other story about, and I'll post a good story. And when I do that, people read that and they get inspired. They're like, "Oh, I want to write a story like that," and then they start doing the assignment. Do you understand what I mean? So really the best way to lead, to best way to inspire is by just doing an amazing job yourself, and
Yes.
people will see that and they'll want to replicate it, you know.
I'm curious. Like, I just recently changed my cover, and my
Mhm.
tagline is "Superhumans win by playing together." How do you like it?
I like it. I mean, I like the I personally I don't think tagline matters at all. like
But that's the theme.
like let me ask you this, like who's somebody you really admire on Twitter,
Um,
like somebody really really successful?
I quite
Who
like
do you
the
think is the
guy.
most successful?
Quite like the guy called J.K. Molina. You know him?
Who?
J.K. Molina.
Who? J.K. Molina. Okay, what's his tagline?
Like ain't likes ain't cash.
Huh?
Likes ain't cash. Likes does not equal cash.
Okay. So do you think the reason why he's successful is because of his tagline? Like, how much of his success do you think comes from that
I
tagline?
think it's.
Like, what if he didn't have a tagline at all?
I think he's
Do you
really
think he'll still be
strong.
successful?
He's really strong with this theme. So most of the posts that he created, at the end, the moral is like ain't cash. Yeah, the moral.
I understand,
Yeah.
but let's say that tagline wasn't there. He did everything else exactly the same, but he didn't have a tagline. Name another creator. Okay, maybe that's not a good example.
Name.
Like, do you like Oprah? Like, what's the tagline for Mind Valley?
Mind Valley. I don't think they have a tagline, but there's a theme.
What's the tagline for Jay Shetty? What's the tagline for Tony Robbins? What's the tagline for Oprah? What's the tagline for Dr. Phil? Like you,
You know,
like people think that taglines are so important. People think that their brand story is so important, but it literally doesn't matter at all. You just have to be good at what you do, and you just have to deliver. The tagline really, really, really doesn't matter at all. Nobody's buying you from you because of a tagline. Nobody's buying you because of a logo. Nobody's buying you because of some name. They're buying from you because you're proving that you you can make this happen. You're giving them good stuff. You're giving them, you know what I mean? You're providing value.
you know what?
That's
Like
why they buy
you,
from you.
you really inspire me in one thing because I did run a 5 day challenge before. I mean, in the
Mhm.
current community, I run before I open it up. Like maybe 1 month ago, I ran a challenge before. And then it's about like doing like comments, right? Because yeah,
Mhm.
comment basically like 15-minute commenting. And,
Like engaging.
yeah,
Yeah.
engaging. And again, I've run 2 times. The first time I did not participate. I was just facilitating, right? So each day I just write a prompt and then they engage. But you know what? I think I'm most excited and I think it gives better result when I am one of them also playing the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're showing them
Yeah.
you're showing them how it should be done.
Yeah. Again, because today I'm very lazy. I don't do much
Mhm.
engagement. And I think, hey, I should create challenges that is, I'm going to be selfish. I'm going to create challenges that is benefit for me. And if you want to join, cool, you're going to benefit as well. But no matter what,
Yeah.
I'm going to benefit first. Yeah.
Yeah. No, exactly. Like
Oh my God. Yeah.
if you're not doing it for self, like there are so many people that are out there, oh, I just want to help people, I just want to, be like, I just want to help the world, or this is my mission to, like, you know what, all those people quit. All those people a few months into it, they not only quit, but they start growing resentment. They're like, I'm doing all of this for them, they don't even appreciate it at all. Like, those people actually start to grow resentment. Because why? Because deep inside they weren't being selfish, right? Like, deep inside, if there's something that you're not getting something out of it, at some point you're gonna be like, why am I doing this? Like, these people don't appreciate me. Like, do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So it has to be attached to some sort of a selfishness. Like, I have to get something out of it too.
Interesting. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Or first and foremost, I have to get something out of it.
Yeah.
And then secondly, primary has to be selfish, and then secondary has to be selfless. That's the real kind of selfless.
Yeah. I'm gonna do it myself. Yeah. So at least I'm benefiting, right? I don't care if
Yeah.
you continue for 30 days or just 2 days, right?
And I also think that you should constantly focus, rather than trying to like plan out how this is going to look like 6 months more now or something like that. What you should is look back and try to identify what worked for you, and then try to find out like what's like a little tweak I can make so that other people can do this. You
Sorry.
know what I mean?
Today, I think 6 months before, like last year, November, what I did. That works.
No, no, no. In your entire life, what has worked for you? Like, so for example, you told me that one of the one of the things that really struck me is when you said you formed a mastermind group with four of your old colleagues from Mind Valley, and you did that for 2 years, and you just met every week on Zoom, right? And that really helps you, right? That means that's gonna help other people too.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So that has to be like, and then you said the 30-day challenge helped you because it kept you accountable, right?
Yeah.
So that means it's gonna work for other people too. Like, think about all the things that work for you. In the beginning, I try to create my courses. You know how I created the course is I'm going out and researching how other people create the course. People say, I'll do this, like you have to do it, like, and then I'm basically teaching the course almost as how other people teach it, right? They're like, oh, this is the proper way to do it, this is the proper, so this is how you have to grow Instagram. So I was just like taking other people's advice and putting into the course, right? And then I was like,
And then it flopped.
that's not, while I was doing it, I was like, but that's not what I did. That's not how I did it, right? So I started I started teaching Monday Masterclass where I just showed them what I did, and then like I would go in there and I would look at like I would show them exactly what I'm doing. Oh, this is how I edit my text. I'm like live showing them on a screen recording. This is how I edit. Oh, and this is how when I design, I'm there. So I thought that was so messy. I'm like, everybody's gonna hate this, right? Those were like, I actually went in, I screen shared my phone, and I showed them the DMs that I sent to people. Like, you see how I sent, like, I showed them how I spent like a year trying to connect with Chris Do, like all the DMs that I've been sending him over the months, and then like how he finally replied to me, and finally he started following back, and finally we got on IG Live. Like, but how that whole process took 2 years, and I showed them the DMs. Like, you know what I mean? So I showed them exactly how I did it,
Yeah.
and the way I did it was messy, but those were the stuff they like. If you go to Circle and Night Owl Nation, and if you go to Monday Masterclass, go all the way to the beginning. Look at these videos, engagement strategy, and then there's also one called design. It's like in the first few weeks. Those two were the most popular ones that I've ever had, and to me those were the two messiest ones, because I was just sharing my screen and showing them what I do,
Right.
almost like behind the scenes, right? And that's what people love the most, and that's the thing that even today people are like, I go back and watch that every month.
Wow.
Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So And even today's conversation, you know what the best parts were? Like, out of everything that you told me, the best parts were the ones where you just told me what you did. Like, for example, oh, I went to this JC community and I scroll all the way down and I did like,
Yeah.
those are the best. Those are the gold. So don't, a lot of times when we teach, like I think what we try to do is we try to become a professor, or we try to become this, like we try to do it, follow the proper way to do things. This is the proper way to write a paper, this is the proper way to teach a class, like this is the proper way to form a community, right?
It
But
kind
the
of
thing
also
that's
gives
gonna
you like
work,
a shortcut, right? Because I've done the work, and you don't need to do what I've done.
yeah. So the best thing is to just show them exactly how you did it, and sometimes the way you did it might be wrong. Like I did a sales class on, it's called no sales framework. And I show them exactly how I sell. And the way I sell, like how I get clients and high class, like is I've never seen anyone else sell the way I sell. Or at least like that's not how people teach. It's very different than what most people teach. But this worked for me, so I taught it. And then people loved it.
Oh, where can I find it?
So it's also a Monday Masterclass.
Okay, no sense.
Monday Master,
Okay.
if you go to the old, if you go scroll down to the old Monday Masterclass, you know how like now Monday Masterclass is just kind of a Q&A, like hot seats, but back then I used to actually teach. But then I like it was taking too long, so I stopped. So I want you to just imagine that, just try something, see what works, share it, and just tweak it. Like I want you to make tiny little incremental changes as you go on the stuff that's already worked for you.
Mm.
Because if I try to plan out how Night Out Nation would look like a year from, like a year ago, which is when I started a year ago, Night Owl Nation today looks like I couldn't even imagine this a year ago.
Right.
Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I wasn't even thinking small groups. Like what's a small? I didn't, you know what I mean? I wasn't thinking any of this. It all just evolved by trial and error. Oh, that worked. That, and you have to be super patient. Even now, I see all these problems, right? All these issues, and we're just fixing it one by one. Okay, oh, that's happening. Oh, let's try this. Oh, that didn't work. Oh, then let's try this. Oh, but this worked. Oh, let's try that, right? And also really letting the community drive it. Like let the community tell you what they want. You know?
Mm. Cool. Yeah, I think I'm absolutely on the right direction, but I think you definitely inspired me to do a longer challenge and also like a weekly meetup. I think that's gonna be a game changer. Because
Yeah, those
nobody's
two
nobody's
things
gonna do
work
that,
for
right?
you.
Yeah.
And it's tested, it's proved, tried and it's like tried and true or whatever. It's tested because it's worked for you,
Yeah.
and you know that it's worked for you. You know how to do it because you've done it, and you just have to show other people how to do it. And by the way, I think this, you basically told your brand story in this call. It's like your brand story starts out, you know, like I'm such a control freak, right? And when I brought in a business partner, it didn't work out because I didn't want to depend on that person. What if he leaves, right? Blah blah blah. Like tell that part of the story because that's that vulnerable. When you say that, everyone's gonna be like, oh my gosh, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm not letting anybody help me because I don't want to depend on anyone, right? And even people that are not entrepreneurs are gonna, even people that hasn't had business partner are gonna resonate because they're like that with relationship. They're afraid to get into relationship because I don't want this person to leave me. You know what I mean? So that is gonna resonate. And then when you do that, and then you're like, uh, kind of like, I can do everything by myself, right? Until you went back in the past and reminded you of that time when you were in that 100K challenge
Hmm.
and how that you actually needed to depend on other people, right? Like at that time, it was like, oh, I can do everything by myself. That I would have definitely quit. But the fact that those people were dependent on me is the reason why, even though I was sick as a dog, I still did it, right? And that's when on Twitter you decided to do the 30-day challenge, and that worked,
Oh
right?
yeah.
That kept you accountable, right?
I never
And
missed a
so
day of tweeting since 1st of October.
yeah, exactly. And then how like doing the mastermind group showing on the Zuko that work, right? And which is why I know that this is the biggest problem. Like if you're like me, where you're like number one, I can do it all by myself. And number two, you're not consistent and you keep giving up and things. Like even show the graph. I did this one post where I'm like, okay, this is what I was doing. It's like, quit, quit, quit. When if I just stuck with one, I'd be up here right now, right? So I show the difference between the two graph. Like what you're doing is this when you should be up here. And the reason why is because you keep giving up, right? Every New Year's you start and then you give up. New Year's again, you give up and you start. And that's why people can't lose weight. They can't get healthy. They can't grow Instagram, whatever it is, right? And just show them you are doing the same thing until that you you remember how you stuck through that 100K challenge.
Yeah.
And that's why you decided to depend on other people. I decided to build a community you know so they can depend on me and I can depend on them. And that's what the superhuman is all about. Not like finding your passion and taking your superpower and like that's the most cliche story, right? That's what every entrepreneur says, right? At the core, what makes you different is that you have you have kept people accountable and people have kept you accountable and you've learned and you've even went through that how it doesn't work when you're an island when you try to do everything by yourself. It works when there are other people to depend on and people to depend on you. And that's what you're really creating. You're creating accountability, dependability, and that's what that community is all about,
Mm.
right? Because we're you know I always tell this story like a lot of people that I know, a lot of designers that I know, a lot of copywriters that I know, they always meet their clients' deadline. They always go over and beyond. They'll stay up all night to meet their clients' deadline, but they'll miss their own blog. They're like, "Oh, I'll do my next week," right? And that's because we're more accountable to others than we are accountable to ourselves,
Yeah.
right? This is why you need and that's what your community should really be about, in my opinion, because you've experienced it yourself and you know
Mm.
it worked for you.
Mm. Good, good, good. So my core value, it's yeah, it's about like togetherness.
Yeah, I keep going back to that 100K thing. That is like a key story. Like it's
Yeah.
you need community. Here's what I would say if I were to whittle it down. No man is an island. Like you've heard that saying before, right? Have you heard that phrase
No,
before?
no menace.
No man is an island. It means like you can't do anything by
Mm.
yourself. Right? Like, or you heard the proverb like that says, if you want to go far, go together,
Yeah.
right? If you want to go fast, go alone.
Yes, yes,
If you want to
yes.
go far, go
Yeah.
together, right? And growing Twitter, growing business is going far. It's not going fast. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon.
Yes.
Do you understand me? It's a 100K marathon.
Yes.
That's what business is, right?
Yes.
So you can't do that alone. You have to. You're not trying to go fast. You're trying to go far.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean? And you can't do that
Yeah.
alone because you have to be consistent. So no man is an island. And for you, working in a team, working in a like a group, working in like a community has helped you keep other people like dependent. It's actually okay. Maybe this is like I used to think I can do everything by myself, like, but now you understand that when you're in a community, other people keep you depend like they depend on you and you depend on them, and keeping each other depending on each other is what pushes you forward, is what keeps you consistent, is what but the hero's journey story is perfect because you used to think you can do it all by yourself,
Yeah.
right? Until you realize you can't, right?
Yeah.
And now you're actually trying to So now what you need to do is you need to go out and go find all those people. All your Twitter content, all the content that you put out there has to be all about that. Like, hey, like this is what I used to do. Like, and give an example. Like one example you gave is like, I didn't want to bring on a business partner because I didn't want to depend on that person. Like, what if that partner leaves, right?
Yeah.
Like, when I had a business partner that was good in sales, I actually got worried because what if he leaves, right? And so I learned how to do everything myself, right? When you tell those stories, there's going to be other people that are like, oh my gosh, that's how I am, right?
Yeah.
And once they say that, that's your audience, that's your customer. Do you get it?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like whoever is saying, I can do everything by myself, that's your customer.
Okay. I think a lot of people think that.
Okay.
I definitely can break the myth.
Yeah, but nobody's saying that, right? Nobody's going around. Everybody's preaching the hero story. It's like, you can't do everything by yourself. Join a community. Like you have to do blah 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 blah. But nobody's going around saying that. You know what? Like I'm the type of person that used to always say I can do everything by myself, right? Like nobody talks about the vulnerable side,
Yeah.
right? But it's when you share the vulnerable side, that's when people are gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm doing that too." You know what I mean?
Wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Now all the dots are connected.
Yeah, you already had everything already. All you needed to do was look back and connect the dots
Yeah.
instead of like trying to create new dots in the
Yeah.
future.
Exactly. Right. Superhumans is about like whatever movie you're watching, like all these superhumans, they come in a team. The powers needs to come. They
Not
need to,
really.
yeah, actually,
Well, I mean nowadays they do, but if you look at the old ones, like the old Superman, old Batman,
it's
right?
just me,
It's
right?
not, right? Yeah. So,
Yeah, maybe that's
which is actually okay because that's how you are, right? Like deep down inside, you are like I can do everything by myself. I'm a superhuman. I can do all by myself. But then what you're trying to do is like you're actually trying to prove yourself wrong. Like that's what makes the story so good. Like the reason why I always say I have the highest ego. I the reason why I talk about all the mistakes that I made, all the bad things that I did, like as embarrassing as it is, the reason why I talk about it is because I know that that's how I am. And I need to admit that first in order for me to fix it. If I put on this mask, I'm like, oh, I love community. I love this. I like, if I keep doing that, like, oh, I'm like, here's one good example. One of the story that I say is when one of my first employees quit, like 2 years after working with him, the one line he said to me that really like hurt me, where as soon as he said it, I started crying.
wow.
And that was, son, I realized that you're never going to let me make decisions. I was like you. Do you understand what I mean? But when I first started that, I'm like, I'm a cool boss. I'm not a tyrant. I'm like, like I used to have the boss that says, it's my way or the highway. No, you do it my way, right?
Yeah,
Like, I hate it. I didn't want to be that guy, right? I want to be the cool boss, right? I want to be the open minded. I listen to your ideas. That's what I wanted to be, right?
but your action
But
actually, yeah,
deep inside, I was control freak. So as soon as he said, "Son," I realized you're never gonna let me make decision. It just broke my heart, right? Because deep inside, I knew it was true. Do you understand what I mean? The reason why I tell that story, as embarrassing as it is because I know that there are people out there like that. That when they hear that, they're gonna be like, "Oh shit!" Like I'm like that too, and I'm like that too, and maybe I'm doing that, and maybe that's why I'm not succeeding.
mm,
Do you understand what I
yeah.
mean? Something like that, yeah.
Well, love it, love it, love it. Wow, thank you so much, so much.
Oh my gosh, it's been 2 hours. Holy shit.
Ooh, wonderful chat.
Yeah, I think the best thing that came out of here is your story. Like everything that you said about your story was
I,
amazing.
I I
So
know the story somehow connects. It's just yeah, it's just missing a little connection there.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay,
I mean,
I
like,
look
you're
forward
just
to
so good
hearing
for
your
that.
story. Awesome. Thanks for being with us.
Thank,
I know it's late there, so have a great night.
yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone, for listening.
I hope
And
everybody is
cheers.
learning something here, not just me.
I hope so too.
All right.
I'm sure everybody's listening, going like, "Oh shit, I'm a control freak too."
Yeah.
So maybe you'll get a lot of members joining.
Awesome.
Okay, good night, everyone.
Bye
See you
bye.
next week. Cheers. Bye.